Hello everyone, welcome to the show. Welcome to this episode of Dosed. And today we are really happy to have on the show Miriam Gauci. She is the founder of a business called Pain Outside the Box. And she is a mind-body practitioner and a pain coach. And she's going to be discussing TMS, which is Tension Myositis Syndrome, and the differences between chronic and acute pain, and how sometimes it can be mistreated or misdiagnosed. So before we get on to Miriam, though, how are you?
Good, man.
Yeah.
You?
Yeah, really good. Really good, thanks.
You were just in Mexico, I believe.
I was. It's like I'm a gypsy. I'm everywhere. I was actually over there for a mate's wedding. I went to Playa del Carmen and then Tulum. The wedding was lovely. Playa del Carmen is, okay. Tulum, though, wonderful place. Really, really good. Very, very hippie. What I really liked about it, actually, and it was funny because when I was out yesterday evening back in Malta, was they're really conscious on the environment and being sustainable. So much so, like in the places where we're staying, they don't have any plastics available. So they have the water coolers, but then you have to go and take. They're trying to encourage you to keep your own cup, and even in the bars, you just kind of keep using the same glass, because then by using the same glass, it's still yours. And obviously, if you're just having beer, then you just replace it with more beer. Then you're going to reduce the amount of things that are washed. Therefore, you're using less energy, and it's just it's really interesting, really quite surprising actually, because you think, okay, Mexico, that side of Mexico is very Americanized, commercialized. But really lovely, really, really nice. And you've been to Tulum?
Yeah, a few years ago I was in Tulum. Yeah, same vibes, amazing town. It sounds like it was a little bit cheaper back then.
Yeah, it was punchy to say the least. I mean, you got all the beach clubs, and we went there to party because I was just after 5 days on a resort at a wedding, which got a little bit more than excited. We just needed to relax, if I'm honest, just a detox. But there are kind of like, you've got beach clubs, so they've got all the nice, basically the best beaches. And then to go to a beach club, it's like a minimum of $50 per person. So you have to pay to get in, and that's like your minimum spend.
Wow.
So I was like, okay, $100 fine, but you get a nice beach and you get to use the facilities and stuff. But when you're doing that and the last place we went to a place called Taboo, really nice as well, but I think that was minimum of $75 per person.
Wow.
So a bit punchy, a bit pricey, but downtown, lovely. We also, sorry mum, but we also tried some mushrooms.
Oh. Psilocybin, you say?
Don't be psilocybin. So we, I wanted to try some mushrooms while I was out there, just to see the different. See if there's any difference really with the strain and stuff. It was cool. It only had a small dose, it was only like 2 grams, and bloody expensive to try and find as well. I was expecting Tulum to be quite open, but it was really difficult to try and find. Like, even I was asking the hotel, I was asking people. You have guys on the street go, "Hey man, you want some cocaine?" I was like, "What about mushrooms?" It's like, maybe tomorrow. I was like, okay, no, I'm not going to ask this guy. It'd probably bring me back some chestnut mushrooms, something bad. But had that, really nice. Only 2 grams, so it was super mellow, really, really chilled out, and it was actually just a really nice experience. Like we just kind of sat on the bed on the beach, actually, just kind of watching the world go by. But you just feel really content. That kind of feeling, really. Which was a bit of a shame, because I think if I'd gone for what they call the hero dose,
yes,
just 5 grams, then I would have started seeing some rainbows. But no, maybe next time.
Next time. Hero dose, maybe 3.5.
Nah, just go straight in. Why not? No. Different
folks for different strokes.
Well, fair enough.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Cool. So that was really good. I also read about what's it called? Guianan quinine.
Oh yeah.
Lately as well. Have you seen that?
You sent me a little article.
Yeah. So it was they found this. I don't know if you know about this, but they found this this leaf or this plant called obviously called Guianan quinine, if I'm pronouncing that right. And it's a cure. They found a cure for Lyme's disease. because all the drugs and the treatment for Lyme disease doesn't actually cure it, just subsides the symptoms. Where this is actually proven, like just 1% of it is proven to just absolutely smash it. It's gone, and then you never get any reoccurrence of it. So it's amazing. It just shows that we need more people doing research, looking at natural remedies, and getting out there trying plants. Really, I don't know how you would stumble across that.
No idea.
Okay, fair enough. Cool. So I think without further ado, I think we should crack on with the show. Hello, and welcome to this week's show. We are brought to you today by the awesome guys at Soho Office Space. So Soho Office Space are a co-working space based on the beautiful island of Malta, and I personally work there, and comparing these guys to numerous other co-working spaces I've worked in, such as, well, I won't say their names. These guys are there's a huge difference in what they're providing with regards to the real community vibe, and the real kind of togetherness of all of their sites across Malta. Something that personally I've never actually seen, and they're brilliant. They do that really through kind of super use of their community management and community managers, but also kind of bringing together weekly lunches where not just in one of the co-working spaces, but all of them are welcome. Every member basically is allowed to go to wherever there is an event. There are no Chinese walls put up. Everyone is included, which really does kind of help build your network. And again, I mean, speaking personally, it's been a great opportunity for someone that's a founder and growing a business to really kind of build your personal network, and not only personal, but then it's not only personal but professional network, and allow you to really kind of utilize kind of thoughts and inputs and insights from other founders, from all different walks of life, really, and different industries. So honestly, love these guys. Not to mention the fact they have got a brand new premises based on the Strand, which is in Slima, for those not from Malta, with an incredible new sun deck. Next year there's going to be a pool at the top as well as a fully functioning bar. All members only. And there is also going to be a gym in there, which I intend to continually use. So, like I said, all members only. So it's super kind of connected. Great opportunity to kind of meet other people in different scenarios. And just all around good fun there. So I really recommend it. So if you want to reach out to those guys, if you go to www.sohomalta.com/dosed, that's sohomalta.com/dosed for any inquiries, then please do so.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being on. So before we get going, so I know you're away travelling recently as well, weren't you?
Yes.
Where were you?
I've been in Chile for 4 weeks.
Oh, wow.
It was amazing.
Is it? It's probably hot. Is it hot?
It
It's a good
was
time to go?
summertime,
Okay.
yes,
Oh,
but
nice.
we spent most of our time in Patagonia,
Ah.
which is still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Quite windy.
Yeah. Cool
Um,
temperature-wise, not.
yeah.
not
But still, we had really good weather.
Yeah.
We hiked a lot in the
Mhm.
mountains.
Oh.
It was pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
And what were you saying? There was a battle between Chile and Peru.
Okay, well, we need to be very careful on how we.
That's about
This is going to be the most controversial part of the podcast. It's about an alcohol called Pisco, I guess, where Peru and Chile claim to be the inventors of Pisco, and they both endorse it as countries.
Is it exactly the same? It's the same liquor. It's like the same
I
spirit.
believe so.
Yes, but it does taste a bit differently, I found, like the Peruvian to the Chile.
Yeah. Did
Oh,
you?
really?
We
you-
had both.
Yeah. So they were advertising Peruvian Pisco in
Yes.
Chile.
Yes,
Wow.
they had on the menu. Because there were these Pisco places where they had like dozens of Piscos. try. So obviously they also had the Peruvian.
I'm going to be a little bit biased. You know, obviously my girlfriend's from Peru, so you know, I think we can keep it there.
I'm not gonna argue. I like them both.
Fair enough. Brilliant. So yeah, but really, I guess let's kind of jump into first. Let's start with your business. So Pain Outside the Box. You know, so how did this come about? And what is Pain Outside the Box?
Well, so Pain Outside the Box is a coaching business for people who have been suffering from chronic pain, various chronic pain symptoms,
such
as back pain, neck pain. Those are the most common, leg pain.
Okay.
So all sorts of pain that's been there for way longer than it should have been, more than 4-6 months.
Oh, really? Okay.
And they can't find a solution to it. They just can't basically break the cycle.
Right, wow.
And it came about, when I suffered from chronic pain myself 4 years ago.
Okay.
I'm a rock climber.
Okay.
And I started to have this pain in my shoulder. And I thought I had strained it, and I went in for physiotherapy. After 6 weeks of physiotherapy, I saw almost no results. It was kind of on and off. Sometimes I thought it was getting better, sometimes I thought it was actually getting worse.
Yeah.
And then I had some tests, so ultrasounds, to determine if I have like a torn muscle or something. And I didn't have a tear.
So you're just like, what the hell is it? So you just had this constant, what kind of pain was it? Could you not lift your arm? Or
exactly, when I was stretching my arm, it moved about a bit as well, so it wasn't always in the same location. It was weird. Then I had gone on holiday and it stopped, but I didn't do any rock climbing.
Okay.
I came back to Malta and I climbed just once, and the pain was terrible after that. And to be honest, the physio said, there's nothing else I can do for you, just have an MRI. But if there's something torn there, you should basically forget about climbing, because climbing involves pulling up.
Of course, yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
So I actually did have an MRI, and they did find something wrong-ish.
Okay.
So basically there was one ligament which was a little bit torn. But then things started to get really confusing. So the surgeon said, I can fix that ligament, but I don't guarantee that the pain is being caused by that ligament.
Yeah.
So I can fix it, fine, but you might still be in pain because your pain is a bit weird. It doesn't maybe correlate.
Be linked, yeah, of course.
And I was really scared of the surgery. Then one day I decided to go out on a bike ride. I was really frustrated that I couldn't climb, of course.
Of course.
And 2 days after the bike ride, I started to have terrible leg pain. Just for no reason at all, but not during the bike ride, after the bike ride.
Okay.
And I felt something was really, really, really terribly wrong. I cancelled the surgery because the leg pain was actually worse than my shoulder pain. Now I had a new problem, and I could barely walk.
Oh my
basically.
God.
And soon after that, I was working and I started having nerve pain in my hands, both my hands and arms, and I was like, I'm either terribly sick.
How do you know it's nerve pain? So what kind of, can you explain, just so maybe people that might be experiencing this?
It felt like I was experiencing electric shocks.
Oh wow, okay.
Up the side of my arm, basically.
Yeah. Like pins and needles kind of thing, or
pins
worse?
and needles in the morning, but more than that, it's like having an electric shock.
Oh wow,
basically.
Okay. God, jeez.
And I had gone to a nerve specialist, and they didn't find anything wrong on the tests, of course, because you have to test all these things. Yeah. But he said, if you're having that pain, and my fingers were really weak, you should forget all about climbing again. So I walked out of his...
This doctor's trying to stop you climbing, what's going on?
I walked out of that office crying, and I said if I'm not going to find a solution to this, I don't know, my life is ruined basically. So anyway, I kept Googling stuff and trying all sorts of stuff, I changed my diet, I wanted to try everything basically.
Yeah, of course. Because this is over how long a period?
About 9 months.
Oh, wow,
so first the shoulder pain, then like 3 months later the leg pain, then the nerve pain.
And this is just every day you're just waking up and there's pain, or does it flare?
It changes intensity. Sometimes I think it's getting better and I have hope, and then one day I have a really bad day and I'm like, it felt awful. So each time I tried to push or do something, I just got it again way worse sometimes. So anyway, so I thought something was terribly wrong with me, and I was also close to getting diagnosed with fibromyalgia, to be honest, because I had so many different symptoms, and some of them coincided with the fibro symptoms as well.
Okay, so fibromyalgia, can you explain? I pronounced that wrong as well. Can you explain, so what are the symptoms and what is that?
Fibromyalgia, well, people with fibromyalgia suffer from chronic pain in various parts of the body. Basically, there are kind of tender points. It's pretty intense. It can be really, really debilitating.
And it's generally focused around the joints or the tendons?
The tendons and muscles.
Oh, I see.
I think, as far as I know. But I mean, it can vary. Some people also just get rashes, for example. It's a whole range of symptoms.
Anything.
And in fact, at the moment, there's no official cure for fibromyalgia, so people get diagnosed, but they're told, listen, you can just have pain relief, massage, helps, but there's no kind of cure. And actually, TMS, which is the kind of concept I'm going to discuss today, practitioners say that the fibromyalgia is an extreme form of TMS.
Oh, right, wow. Okay.
So anyway, I didn't want to get diagnosed with fibromyalgia, obviously. And I was Googling all my symptoms, basically, and this thing came up, TMS. And something made sense to me. Like, it mentioned that it must be like chronic stress and emotions have a part in all of this, and that your body develops a kind of program.
Were you under stress then quite regularly? Or?
Yes, in fact, I'm coming to it. Before my shoulder pain started, I had gone through a pretty stressful time without quite acknowledging how stressful it had been. I was pretty unhappy with my job, but I didn't want to admit it to myself.
Yes.
And of course, then when I stopped climbing, I was really angry. Well, not just angry, I was pretty depressed as well. Which made it worse. And anyway, I decided to look into it. I found this TMS wiki, which is Wikipedia about TMS. Okay. And there was this program.
So I was reading under actually.
There was like a 40-day program, free, for me to follow.
Okay.
And I learned about this doctor called Dr. John Sarno, an American doctor of rehabilitation medicine, who discovered TMS basically. So he had been seeing back pain patients for years, and he always felt that there was something missing. I mean, his patients, most of them weren't getting better. Some people got better, some didn't, and they seem to have the same problem. But
you mentioned when you went on holidays, you didn't have any pain.
Exactly. Yeah, that was one of the clues.
Yeah, was that a clue?
Which convinced me that I had TMS. Yes.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Because you usually get the syndrome when you're basically unhappy with something, when you're not even acknowledging how unhappy or angry or frustrated you are with something in your life. And then the thing is, it becomes a program in you. So then you start also being unhappy with the pain and fearful of the pain. And the more fearful you are, the more you're reinforcing that cycle. So you're building a neural pathway, basically.
Right.
So you're thinking, climbing could make my shoulder pain worse. So you climb and it does get worse. It's kind of a self-fulfilled prophecy, basically.
Wow.
When you're afraid of injuring yourself or exerting yourself too much.
It didn't turn you off rock climbing, though.
No, but that's because I was convinced that I had TMS, and because I went through this program and I got rid of all my pain, basically. I thought I would just get rid of my leg pain because that's what I did it for initially. I was still convinced that my shoulder pain had something to do with my previous climbing. And since they had found actually a torn ligament, I thought I still need to fix that maybe. But then as I worked through it, I thought like, what if my shoulder is also TMS?
Mm-hmm.
And I started to exercise without fear, gradually at first. I started not to expect the fear. I started to talk to my body and tell it, listen, you don't have to behave this way. Because the only way you can get better from chronic pain that is not due to things like infection, cancer, of course, you've got ruled out, is by changing your thoughts around it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're still thinking that there's something structurally wrong with your body, you're likely to keep experiencing the pain when you exercise or when you move that part of the body, because you're blaming it on something that's wrong with you. And okay, let me mention an example with herniated discs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people with back pain get diagnosed with a herniated disc.
Yep.
Some get surgery and they get better, some get surgery and they don't get better, some don't have surgery and they just have the back pain on and off.
Yeah.
They've done some studies, several actually, with people with back pain and people without back pain. So they have two groups.
Yeah.
And the group with back pain, like there was a percentage of people in the group with back pain, which had a herniated disc.
Yeah.
But the curious thing is that there was almost the same percentage of people in the group without back pain who also had a herniated disc.
Wow.
So
okay.
how can you blame a herniated disc for prolonged chronic pain?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And Dr. Sarno's argument was that okay, a herniated disc might be painful in the beginning. Any injury might be painful in the beginning, and that is what we call acute pain, because you pinch a nerve, you tear a muscle or strain it, and of course you're gonna feel acute pain. But with chronic pain, it doesn't make sense that the body didn't heal. It doesn't make sense for it to persist for so long.
So you're saying the pain may not actually be in the affected areas, obviously just works its way into your nervous system or your brain, or what's...
Yes, well, it's a bit complicated. So let's say you've actually had an injury. So you've been running and you twisted your ankle. Now you get physiotherapy, treatment, and you get better. And maybe your friend has the same kind of injury. And at first you both get better. But you might be a little bit more worried and more fearful of running than your friend is. And the next time you go running, you might start feeling ankle pain. Now it doesn't make sense after 8 weeks of physio and everything that you're gonna get ankle pain. But since you're still afraid of injuring yourself, you still think that there might be something wrong with that area, your pain is gonna manifest itself there. And the more stressed you are in life, the more likely you're gonna get it.
Wow.
Because pain is kind of a danger signal. So with acute pain, if we hurt ourselves, if we twist our ankles, we get acute pain to prevent us from keeping on running.
Of course.
Because it's good for us. And in the case of chronic pain, you keep getting pain because you still think you're in danger. You still think you're in danger of injuring yourself, or else you've been stressed, unhappy about something, and your body is warning you through pain, because you're not acknowledging what's wrong with your life, you're not acknowledging your emotions, and therefore it has to come out some other way. And the problem with that is, if it comes out as pain, then you have a new distraction, a new problem to focus on. So and the cycle goes on, because the more afraid you are, and sometimes even the more, for example, you massage the area, it can be counteractive.
So how can you can mistreat things, right? You can mistreat chronic pain for acute pain, I would imagine.
Yes, that's one of the problems, I think, and today with Western medicine. It's great at treating injuries. So if you break a bone, if you tear a ligament, you get a surgeon, you get physiotherapy, it's excellent. But when you treat chronic pain in that way, you're reinforcing the idea that there's something still structurally wrong with your body. So you're keeping the pain alive and the connection alive. Now it's more likely to feel pain in an area you've injured before, because your brain already knows that nerve pathway, so it's easier for you to reproduce that pain. The problem is when people get chronic pain, they go in for a massage, which feels great maybe, but it's reinforcing the idea that there's something structurally wrong.
Yeah. I get it. Yeah.
So
wild.
you have to be really, really careful with this. One of the things I did when I discovered this, when I accepted this diagnosis, was I stopped all kinds of treatments, which I knew were only giving me temporary relief. So massage was giving me temporary relief for a day, and then the next day I got pain. So what's the point? Yeah. I stopped talking to people about my pain too much, because that kind of keeps the idea alive as well. Of course. So, and I also changed my thoughts around pain, as I said. So I knew that I felt like a victim to pain. I was fearful of it. And you have to change your perspective, kind of from one of victim to one of master. That's
not necessarily the easiest thing to do, right? So you know, how did you make that gradual change?
I was really, really lucky to stumble upon this program and to read one of Cernal's books as well. This is curious actually, about this doctor. He wrote a book about this when he discovered it, and it was a huge success. Some people were reading it and getting better as they read or after they read.
Wow.
So it's like the book cured them. Because what they were doing was they were educating themselves, and they were actually seeing what made sense about their pain, what didn't.
Kind of more aware than through the book, because it's creating the awareness.
Because it's actually educating yourself about your brain and body. And
that's crazy.
So within 40 days, you're like...
Yes, within 40 days, I think 5 weeks later, I went back to climbing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And I reached my previous level like 3 months later. I remember the first day I went climbing, I did feel a little bit of shoulder pain. Okay. But I just told it to just stop right there. Okay. But by that time I had built the confidence. You can't just, have terrible back pain and go running. But first you need to build the confidence. You need to accept the diagnosis. Actually, let me start from the beginning. You need to exclude any serious conditions. Yeah, okay. Like cancer, infection. Then you need to accept the diagnosis by identifying with it, so you see if it makes sense to you. So there are also some like personality types who are more prone to TMS. Such as people who are people pleasers. Oh, interesting. So they want other people. Yeah. That's really interesting. So they want other people to be happy, so they don't put themselves first, and that creates some sort of internal rage, because obviously we're internally, well, not selfish, but I mean. Well, you need to put number one first. Exactly, you need to put yourself first, and when you don't constantly, on a constant basis, then you're more prone to.
There's probably millions of people suffering this way, right?
I can even think of a guy I work with in my day job that has, I won't say his name, but I just see he's constantly going in to get his shoulder fixed. He says he's got a frozen shoulder and sometimes it hurts. And I wonder, and he is such a lovely guy, like really, really nice, and a bit of a people pleaser. So I just wonder if there is a bit of a link there. Yeah,
it's people pleasers, ambitious people, highly ambitious people who are too hard on themselves. Okay,
So there's not like a personality test where you can probably distinguish between them, but
I love a personality test.
But it's mostly those two types, and I fit right in. There were a few other personality types, but I forgot. But those are the main
two that stick out.
Yeah, I guess. Ambitious, people pleasers.
Yeah. So then so once you identified that, then you felt
then
it gradually fade away.
Well, it's not the same for everyone. For some people it's easier. Yeah. For example, since I had only been suffering from chronic pain for like 8 months, and I was really receptive to this, it was kind of my only hope, and it made so much sense, I had quite a fast recovery. Yeah. Some people tend to struggle more because of the conditioning. So if they've had back pain for like 5 years, it's not so easy for them to imagine a life without back pain. And you have to you have to allow the possibility first. And then it's not so easy maybe to challenge yourself to actually still, I don't know, go for a walk despite the pain, to actually not be scared of pain. If you've been having the same reaction to pain every single day, it can be really hard to change that reaction.
Of course, yeah. So then, like I say, you're having to build new pathways in your brain to be able to accept that is no longer a real thing.
Yeah, exactly. About not being a real thing, like I just want to specify that TMS is not strictly speaking in your head.
Yeah.
In fact, there have been studies, and apparently there are changes in the body when you feel in a certain way. Let's say you're feeling stressed, the body starts producing more cortisol, right?
Yeah.
So there's a change, there's actually a physical change in the body, which is caused by stress.
Yeah.
So actually the theory goes that there's kind of a lack of blood flow in the area when you feel that kind of TMS pain.
Okay.
And that's what's causing the pain. You can't see it as in on an MRI, but it's there.
How open are doctors to this?
Not very. Depends. Actually, you'd find a whole list of TMS doctors in the US and also in the UK now.
How old is that book? Is it an old practice, or is it fairly new?
What's the name of the book actually?
Healing Back Pain.
Healing Back Pain.
Well, since then he also wrote other books, and then there were other people who wrote great books on the subject.
That's he was the inspiration.
Exactly. So he's just a founder.
Is it a new methodology, or has it been going for a while?
In the US it's been going for a while. I think Sarno was practicing. I'm not sure when it was published. I think it was in the 80s.
Okay, yeah, I know. Yeah.
But of course he had problems with his peers who didn't want to accept this.
Yeah, of course.
So he had like really happy patients, and actually most of them, they were called like years later to see if they still were pain-free, and like about 90% of them were still pain-free.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I mean, I think it's going to be more accepted as we go along. For example, neuroscience, studies in neuroscience today are backing it up. Because now we know that if you build certain neural pathways,
for sure,
you behave in a certain way, and you think in a certain way, and then you keep having the same thoughts. So it's so hard to change. So it's the same with pain.
Could hypnotherapy take any format in fixing these types of things?
I think it might help. Yes, if it. I mean, hypnotherapy works a lot with diffusing certain emotions as well.
Yeah, it's probably like your cycle of fixing people. It's not just a day, you know. It takes some time, right?
No, and I think that's the challenge, because you can't blame doctors for not treating people in this way, because doctors, they're not psychologists. They it's not their job maybe to ask their patients how stressed they've been and what was happening in their lives when their pain started. And also people go to doctors and they want a structural diagnosis, because we, in the Western world, we tend to look for solutions outside of ourselves. So we don't have to...
They want a one quick fix, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. So people want a quick fix and they want a structural diagnosis.
And was it, did you identify that it was just solely your job then that was causing that much stress to create this pain, or?
Yes, I realized that I was pretty angry at my work situation.
Yeah. I'm just trying to see if it's that easy to flare up. Like, you know, if someone is really genuinely stressed constantly at work, if this is something that is more common than people think.
I think it's much more common than people think, but some people manage it, because then eventually they might get sick, they take a little break off work, and then they get back. I mean, by the end of it, I stopped working because my nerve pain got so bad that it actually got me out of that unpleasant situation. You see, because that's the purpose in a way.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah,
it actually got me out of that situation.
Wow.
But I mean, if you follow a TMS program, you look at other areas in your life as well. So I don't know. It could be for some people, it could be a childhood trauma. Yeah. It could simply be their personality. You know, they're not acknowledging their emotions, or they haven't put themselves first in ages. So
is it more common in any particular sex?
I wouldn't say so.
Okay.
So just
I don't know the figures, but I think it's pretty common in men
as well as women.
Okay.
To be honest. So, yeah.
So how obviously delving this, that's nice to hear your background and how you've kind of stumbled across this. So how have you now, since recovering and treating this, how have you developed it and how are you helping others now?
Yes, so I mean, to me, that experience, getting better, getting back into climbing, was like one of the best things that happened to me, the most inspiring things in my life. Yeah. So I kept reading on the subject, so books by other practitioners. Yeah. I delved a little bit into neuroscience as well. Don't know if you've ever heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza.
No.
But he's a neuroscientist who's really, really popular, and he's not a pain specialist, but he just talks a lot about how you can change your thoughts and then change your life, and also heal from a variety of illnesses.
Oh, really? So, wow, okay.
And then I decided to take a coaching course because I knew I wanted to do something with this, but I didn't have the qualifications.
Sure.
So I signed up for a diploma in holistic coaching.
Okay.
And to become a mind-body practitioner with the Mind Body Food Institute in Australia.
Okay.
It was really interesting because, I mean, it wasn't about TMS specifically, but it backed it all up. It made much more sense, and it taught me many more tools which I could like introduce to people to help people. And I did, of course, some practical coaching as well as part of my course, specifically with people with TMS. Yeah.
And so the holistic coaching course, so what kind of things what tools does it give you? What does it teach you?
Actually, they teach you to look at every problem holistically, basically. So, exactly, if it's pain, you don't just tackle like the structural causes, but you also ask people how they're doing in different areas in their lives to see whether there's something they're not quite happy with.
Sure.
And then you teach people how to think a bit more positively, how to stop catastrophic thoughts, for example, which really helps with chronic pain, because sometimes we think it's never going to go away, and then that becomes a self-fulfilled prophecy. It doesn't go away because you keep remembering and reinforcing it.
Yeah.
So, visualization, that's excellent, because if you can actually see yourself, and this is what Dr. Dispenza talks about, if you can see yourself as you'd like to be and feel the emotion that you would like to feel now, it's signaling to your brain that it's already happened. So you're sending that signal to your brain and sending your brain body in that direction, if you can see it, but you have to really feel it and see yourself.
Because I guess if you really are seeing yourself in that situation, then you are feeling the emotion you'll feel when you're in that situation. Therefore, you're laying down those pathways to remember.
Exactly. So, because some people say. I might do
this myself, actually.
I feel like the same. I was going to say, I feel like a lot of the techniques should be almost taught in school before you're going to enter the workforce.
That's what I felt as well.
You know what I mean?
Like, why didn't they teach me this?
And
also mindfulness, for example, now is getting more popular. It helped me a lot. Yeah. Because what I used to do is I used to do the body scan. I guess you're familiar with the body scan.
With mindfulness, yes.
When you notice different parts of the body.
Yes.
And whenever I arrived to a pain area, I just learned to notice it a bit more curiously, instead of just fearing it and like saying, "Oh my God, this is horrible." You change your emotion to one more neutral one. So you just observe it, even if it's there. You just observe it, and then the fear like subsides because. So mindfulness helps a lot as well.
For sure, I 100% agree. Everyone should be taught this stuff. For sure.
Yeah, so then it all comes together. It doesn't even just become about pain. I mean, pain is a common problem, and it's
for sure.
But
everyone deals with stress differently. That's it. And
and in fact, having TMS as a consequence of stress or deeply repressed emotion is a good thing, because some people get gravely ill with something else that is
your body will just promote something else.
So in a way, TMS is great because it doesn't leave any side effects if you overcome it in the body.
And has this had an impact on the people around you in your life? Because I imagine if you've got this self-awareness now, it must have had a ripple effect.
Yes. So it wasn't very easy, to be honest. At the beginning, like people were like, oh great, you got better, but they didn't quite believe the reasoning behind it. So, but then gradually, for example, my parents, they had some pain on and off, and I kept telling them, don't be afraid of it, just keep going, and like months later they got better. I don't know, some friends who they got like, a friend of mine just got chronic pain in his shoulder, and he was always going for physio, and it was just getting worse, and he was always massaging it, and I told him, stop massaging it, just don't fear it, and think about how stressed you are because you just changed your job, and you're afraid that you might lose your job now because of pain, and went
so
away
do you,
as well.
by doing that, so I'm just trying to put myself in his shoes, so say I've got this pain, well then I'd be like almost visualising how tight my neck is, and it's affecting that, and then it's all because of the stress. Is that how you do it, or how do you? I'm trying to understand how to not feel something.
How to not feel pain.
Yeah. How to like if I'm this guy you're talking about, and I'm the one that's just changed jobs, and my shoulder keeps getting worse, and you say don't fear it. So how? Give me 5 minutes and take me through these steps, if you will.
Okay, so
I know you still your secrets, but
yeah. So you're gonna feel it, and you're gonna automatically react and say, "Oh, how bad it is!
Yeah.
I
So
hate
like,
this.
okay, this really hurts. Okay.
When is it going away?" So the first thing you have to do is just stop those thoughts, observe it. So practice some mindfulness.
Okay.
So tune into it. How does it really feel? Just be curious about it instead of just like panicking.
Yeah.
And even if it's still there, just keep observing it. But usually when you do observe it like really well, it starts to subside.
I've noticed that before because I do a lot of mindfulness, and I'm very stiff. I have terrible posture. I have an arch back, everything, you name it. And it does work, man. I'll do it before my yoga, and I sound like the biggest hippie in the world right now, but I'm not really, right? I'm not, man. But it does work. Yeah, you can just, especially with this one specific mindfulness YouTube video I do. It's just 5 minutes, and I just think about each area, and it just all shows my neck, everything. Just the tension kind of goes. So yeah, there is definite things that
that's fair. It's
I
think I just don't stress enough. That's why.
I don't know if also you've ever been like you've ever had a symptom and you went to the doctor and he said it's nothing, and then as soon as you walk out of the doctor's office you feel fine because you're no longer afraid of it because the doctor said it's nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know. It happened to me a couple of times.
Yeah.
There's
like, it's fine.
So it's kind of like your body has
relaxed.
Yeah, it's no longer tensing.
Because the worst thing is if you fear the pain.
Yeah.
But it's definitely becoming apparent. Like the first thing that comes to my mind is like the placebo effect with drugs. Now they're showing that it's like 40% or something ridiculous. It's really working.
Wow. Okay.
When I was in getting surgery before, of course I wanted more morphine. Then they gave me a fake Panadol, man, and my dad told me the next morning. I was like, I knew it. And
now that you mentioned it, there's something I forgot to mention. When they did these studies about like pain and TMS, they actually conducted some sham surgeries. So let's say people with knee pain and they're having this knee replacement. No, not a knee replacement.
Hip.
Arthroscopy. To fix something in the knee.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's a minor surgery, basically, just the hole and then.
Oh, like keyhole surgery.
So they actually did the surgery on a group of people, and they did a fake sham surgery on another group of people, and all of them got better.
Wow.
It's wild.
Even like years later. Most people had the sham surgery, the placebo effect kicked in to such an extent that. So what does that mean? Was their pain really being caused by the knee, or was the knee just a valid place for the pain to manifest?
Yeah. With you, it's you and your steps. It sounds way more in depth, though. It's like you're hitting the neural pathway, and it can take probably months, or can take some time to retrain. Yeah, everyone is different. Yeah.
I mean, if this makes so much sense to you, and maybe you haven't had it for a long time, and you fully accept the diagnosis. Because this is the problem with most people with TMS. They say, oh, this makes sense, I think I have TMS. But my doctor said I might have arthritis. But I injured my back 10 years ago, so it might be from that. So as long as you have a shred of doubt, it might persist.
So many people must be just going to get massages all the time, and they're just noticing the same thing.
Physio. Going to
physio.
Yeah, I mean, physio is great if you've just been injured.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But if you place your intention on the body and physio reinforces the thought that there's something structurally wrong with your body, basically.
Yeah.
Because that's why you do physio, to get stronger. And so if you keep doing it for chronic pain that's been there for years, it might not help because you're reinforcing the idea that there's something still structurally wrong with you.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. And you have to accept that, this is all a program in your body. We have so many programs. I mean, we think the same thoughts every day.
Yeah.
People really still just want the quick fix. They just want a pill, you know.
Exactly.
And it's not really the cure.
Cures with inside you.
It's the root cause. You gotta find the root cause.
It all comes from within, in a way. I mean, and then it starts to really make sense the more you read about the subject, and that's why it fascinates me so much.
Yeah.
You start to make connections, and then you think of when you were young and when you had this weird pain, and the doctor said that there was nothing wrong, or
you fall, and then it's always stuck in your memory cycle.
Man, it's like
but also connections, for example, like I wasn't in pain while on holiday.
Yeah, what? Yeah.
Because I was happy.
Yeah.
Or I wasn't in pain during that wedding when I was drunk.
And when you're on holiday,
because when I was drunk, I wasn't worried too much.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You're constantly in the moment when you're on holiday. You're always like, I'm going from here to there, and there's excitement, and there's all this different energy.
Exactly. And you're positively distracted.
Yeah.
Would you say then there's a fair bit of misdiagnosis then? With people, you mentioned about arthritis or other disorders like this. Do you think that is a common thing, or that people should watch out for?
Yes, unfortunately, I guess. With chronic pain, I think we blame certain conditions for pain which shouldn't be. Like I said, with the herniated disc, that a lot of people with no back pain have a herniated disc because it's just a structural abnormality. Yeah. Our bodies are not perfect.
Herniated disc, is that the same as a bulging disc?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know
slip disc, they call it as well.
Joe Rogan's got one. Bulging disc. We should get you to speak to him.
Someday.
Come on, Joe. Sorry.
And the problem is that people get diagnosed and they say, so this is the reason. So now they got the reason.
Yeah.
So now the pain's gonna persist because they're gonna keep blaming it on the structure, and they're gonna be careful with exercise, with lifting, and each time they're careful, they're reinforcing the idea that there's something wrong with them.
I almost think that it should be included with a rehabilitation program anyway, because a lot of the techniques will probably help.
Yeah, and even educating yourself. I mean, Sarno gives this example that the femur, which is the biggest, thickest bone in the body, if you break it, it gets healed in 6 weeks. So why does back pain have to persist for 10 years? It just doesn't make sense.
Okay, that's true.
When it's just pain on its own and they maybe can't even find anything wrong, or there's just a slip disc. And he calls it like a white hair. Like a slip disc is like a white hair. Yeah. It's not like you have it, but it doesn't have to hurt.
Yeah, okay,
and the same for arthritis.
Yeah.
Though not rheumatoid arthritis is different. Arthritis it's still painful.
Yeah.
But like standard arthritis, whatever you call it.
Yes.
It's normal part of the aging process, and it doesn't have to cause such intense pain. Maybe some stiffness in older people, but it doesn't have to cause such intense pain. Yeah. And this was the struggle with my own mother, for example, because she blamed it on her arthritis because she's got arthritis in the hip.
Same as my mum.
And she saw it on the scan. And so she kept feeling like hip and leg pain, and it was really difficult to convince her that it's not her arthritis, that she can change this. So it took longer with her because she had this idea of arthritis in her mind. So it took longer for her to not blame arthritis. But now she got better. So
really?
Yeah.
And how did you get her to read the book, or so especially I love the Maltese, but the Maltese can be very stubborn and not willing to kind of see a different point of view sometimes. So
no, my parents would be the exact same.
Or maybe it's not a Maltese thing. I think it's just an older generation.
Yeah, older generation for sure.
But not just older generation. It's also those kind of people who don't want to look inside of themselves.
Yeah, it's tough
to. Everything is fine except that I have this problem in my body.
Yeah.
So. How did I get her to accept it? Well, she read a book, but she still had the pain. I just kept preaching to her bit by bit, actually encouraging her to walk, encouraging her to take longer walks, and started to subside until eventually she stopped worrying, because she was worrying that if she walked too much, or sat down for too long, she's going to be in pain.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's already in the brain, and
exactly. So that can be a struggle. For example, there are some people with TMS that as soon as they walk more than 4 kilometers, they suddenly get this intense pain.
Okay.
But that I mean, walking is pretty harmless for the body.
Of course,
and walking 4 kilometers or 4.5 kilometers shouldn't make that huge difference.
Exactly.
So random, yeah.
And there are so many people who get pain, terrible pain, while sitting down, for example, which is the most harmless activity you can do.
Yeah.
And is your mom now a true believer? Have you convinced her?
Yes. She's. I mean, we still have arguments sometimes.
Yeah, of course.
She says, I'm stiff because
mothers are natural warriors, right? Yeah, it's normal across the board.
But at least, she's doing well. She's pain-free, so. Yeah.
So
she's still got arthritis, of course.
Yeah,
she
but
knows
it's
that
coping
it's not
with
to
it.
Blame
Yes,
because it can't go away. I mean, the arthritis can't go away.
She can get on with her day. Yeah.
Okay, so she still has it, but there's no pain.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay.
Of course, you're not going to reverse the arthritis if you have it,
course,
but that shows that it's not the cause of pain. So we're blaming certain structural abnormalities for pain when they are not to blame.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah. Wow. This is really
because people keep having tests until they actually find something wrong because they want to find something wrong with their bodies to justify this
pain. They convince themselves, for sure.
So let's say reprogramming the brain at that point.
Exactly. That's a program.
So how obviously your business Playing Outside the Box is fairly new.
Yes.
So how can what's available through the business? So what kind of sessions do you do, and how can people find out more?
At the moment, I offer single sessions or a coaching package made up of 3 or 4 sessions.
Sure.
I offer the single sessions to people who are already familiar with TMS, so they know they've got it, but they're struggling with it.
Sure.
And the package to people who are more new to it. So we talk online or in person.
Okay, so it doesn't have to be. You can do it over Skype or.
Yeah. Of course.
Okay. Nice.
We identify what might have caused it. So certain problems in a person's life. What might be reinforcing it? For example, the person might be avoiding certain activities. Might be having certain thoughts that are making it worse.
Of course, yeah.
And then after a session, I send them an action plan, so tailored to their own situation.
Oh, okay.
So the action plan will include things like journaling, just to be more aware about what you're feeling about something.
Yeah.
Things like mindfulness, thought redirection, which is catching a bad thought, negative thought about your pain and changing it to something else.
Oh wow, okay.
So various techniques, visualization as well, so the person will actually allow the possibility of being pain-free until she can see it.
Yeah.
And then we catch up and see what worked, what didn't.
Okay, and then you can just tweak as you go.
Yeah, exactly.
And how long, is it an ongoing thing, coaching thing, or does it kind of peter off? What's the general course length?
You mean how many coaching sessions?
Yeah, so like say if someone was to sign up, is it an ongoing treatment or?
No, the idea is that the person will become pain-free and just never have to talk to me again.
Such a shame, thanks so much.
I mean, as I said, like at the moment my website targets people who are already aware of TMS.
Yeah.
So they've already accepted the diagnosis.
Okay.
There are things on my site that help you identify whether you've got TMS or not.
Sure.
So things like whether you've had the pain for over 4 months, whether you have pain on both sides of the body, for example, because that doesn't make sense structurally, because both sides of the body are linked to different nerves.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
I mean, there's a questionnaire, so people can see whether they're like good candidates. And they obviously have to be open to the approach.
Have you heard when you have certain pain on certain sides of the body, it's to do with things that have affected you in the past or present? Is that linked?
Yeah, it could be. Some people blame it on trauma in the past.
Trauma.
And especially people who've had significant trauma in the past, they're more likely to develop TMS because something inside them is still so angry that this has happened.
Yeah. Okay.
But I mean, I feel that, and the more I read and observe people, it's sometimes more like the current stresses.
Yeah, they're just telling themselves.
Maybe they have a problem with their spouse and they don't want to recognize it because they want their marriage to be perfect. Maybe they're doing a great job at work, they're not happy, like they're not satisfied as I was, but they don't want to admit that they're unhappy. So it's these things, because our brains are 95% unconscious, only 5% conscious.
Yeah.
So unless we try to probe down into that unconscious, and that's where hypnotherapy would help. It's sometimes difficult to pinpoint the exact cause of pain and illness as well.
Yeah.
Some people argue that also all kinds of illnesses, except viruses, are also caused by emotions.
By trauma. I heard recently that even with asthma, it could be caused in the womb if the mother is stressed.
Really?
Isn't that? And there's studies ongoing with it, of course, to deter.
Do you know, when I was younger, I had asthma. So my dad went to prison when I was younger. I was like 8 or 9, I think, for 18 months. And then I developed asthma in that time for some reason. It just came out of nowhere. And then
for some reason, or
then it went away. Yeah, obviously, because maybe I didn't feel secure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then it just flared up, and then after 2 years it was gone. So it's just really
random.
And you mentioned that word secure, and this is when like these symptoms appear when something inside us feels threatened by something. So let's say we have a problem with our spouse, our marriage feels threatened, and that then you get pain because that's a danger signal and a warning that something's wrong. Or you get another condition like IBS. Yeah,
that's true. Okay.
It could even apply into food allergies. They're looking into people with peanut butter allergies and giving them the microdose, the powder.
Yeah, of course.
And just to remove all these.
Because a very good friend of mine, his daughter has got severe peanut allergy.
Yeah, like if they sit next to someone on a plane who's eating peanuts, they'll flare up. It doesn't quite add up.
And that's tricky, and that's why I decided to focus on pain, because I know that all of these chronic symptoms, they must have an emotional origin or like conditioned response. But of course, with allergies, you can't risk that much because the person might die.
Yeah, for sure.
So you can't tell a person with allergy, oh, don't worry about it, just eat. And don't expect not to get the allergy.
For sure. Yeah.
I guess it's kind of...
You'd be focused on the neural pathway is the way I think about it specifically, and retraining that cycle.
Exactly. Yeah. Although I did experiment a bit with my own allergy. I sometimes wake up in the morning sneezing all the time, especially when the weather is cold. And I got this first when I was living in Luxembourg, which is a really cold country. And I didn't like the cold. I never liked the cold.
Never been to Luxembourg? Is it worth visiting?
Oh, just for work. I wouldn't say. It's pretty, but it got boring.
Okay, fair enough.
She's from the Mediterranean, people.
No, it doesn't matter. Way better. Yeah, and then I started getting it here in winter as well. So I was reading an article about neuroscience, and one of the tips was imagine yourself when you didn't have it. Walk yourself through, visualize yourself when you didn't have this allergy. So I thought about myself walking in the morning to catch the school bus when I was young, and I didn't have this allergy. So I kept repeating this image in my head of me going to school without this allergy on a cold winter morning. And it helped.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Sometimes I get it and then I say stop, I don't have to get it, and I just visualize myself going to catch the school bus.
For sure, you can.
Because I'm reprogramming my brain in that way.
100%.
Which is incredible, actually. It's more people should be doing this.
Yeah, training your brain.
Yeah, wow.
That's why I love reading. It does kind of rewire the way you can think, and when I read quite a bit, I always think way more positive. And today's the biggest feedback about today is really thinking positive in a lot of ways.
Yeah, wow.
And it's not just thinking positive though, because then you have to be careful with outright positivity, because actually positive people can get pretty bad TMS pain as well, because they don't want to admit that there's something wrong with their life, because they're looking at everything in a good light.
Everything is just great.
Exactly. So first you have to acknowledge.
I've seen them people, especially in the States, no offense, US audience.
So first you have to acknowledge that there's a problem, there's something wrong you're not happy about, and then you have to be positive about your healing. Yes.
Yeah.
But,
That's, it all adds up to me.
And is there obviously something we always talk about kind of natural psychedelics and things like that. Are these types of things that would help in this scenario, would you say? Or so like psilocybin mushrooms, and also
we sound like we're promoting illegal drug use on this.
Definitely, I'm not.
But there is studies that are taking place with, let's say, the likes of psilocybin, which is magic mushrooms, and it is relinking pathways in the brain, and it does help people with specific traumas. It could probably maybe apply to pain as well. I haven't seen anything.
In fact, now that you're mentioning it, I've been on like fibromyalgia forums to see what people are struggling with, and what seems to help them the most are not the meds, but CBD oil.
Yeah.
Because that kind of has a little bit of effect on the brain, right?
Yeah.
And if the cause is in the brain, of course, that's gonna help more. So
Yeah.
if the magic mushrooms like do something to
Yeah.
your brain and relax certain.
It's
neurogenesis,
I think it is. Yeah.
It actually links. It affects the brain and the gut, and obviously the gut is
the second brain of the body.
Yeah, basically, and that's why it's links to your overall health. And I think that's where if you take the oil. I was at a CBD meetup conference thing the other day. Actually bought some CBD face cream. It's really nice.
Oh.
And I'm glowing, right? No. And and they were saying about the way you can take certain things. If you take it topically and only hit one part, but if you take the CBD oil under the tongue and hold it under the tongue for a minute, then there's a receptor under the tongue that allows it to, because there's receptors all over your body, that it allows it to hit the brain, and then you can digest it and it hits your stomach as well, and that's meant to be really, really powerful.
So yeah, I mean, it makes sense that these things work, because you have to exchange something chemically in your brain, and that's what you need. But you can also change this on your own.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just difficult.
Yeah, the drugs aren't the cure, for sure, because I see a lot of people, again, they'll just, all right, sure, I'll just go do a psychedelic session.
Yeah.
And it's a synergy of maybe everything, depending on the issue that people are dealing with.
Well, and it's basically highlighting the fact that you can cure. The cure is within yourself. You just need to kind of understand what the triggers are, what's kind of causing this, which is
and change the way you behave.
Yeah,
you react to
like the arthritis situation with your mother. You can retrain the process behind it.
Wow.
And it gives you hope. I mean, knowing that you're not always a victim to your body, that, having a herniated disc doesn't have to, hurt for life. I mean, that's, for me, it's really empowering. Knowing that even if you get injured, you're likely going to get better within 6 weeks, 2 months.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you hurt your nerves severely, but of course. But, knowing what potential the body has got.
No, I had something similar where, actually, the reason I moved to Malta, but I had a quad bike accident 4 years ago, and flipped it at 50 miles an hour. I landed on my head, but then I was so conscious of the bike rolling on top of me, I wanted to get up as quickly as possible. In doing so, stood up and then dislocated my big toe.
Ouch.
Wasn't very nice. Especially when they tried to put it back in and didn't manage the first time. But I used to play football quite a bit on Saturdays at a decent level, not brilliant, but but then immediately afterwards, for probably, I was just trying to work out the months, it was for about 3 months. I just couldn't even, as soon as I went to run on it, I could feel the pain, because I think that was to do, because obviously all the ligaments or the tendons or the ligaments? Might be the ligaments could get affected,
or both.
and all the tissue around it. But eventually that went away. So after 3 months, and I was able to play football again. So it's kind of, I was just thinking if it was acute pain or chronic, but I think it was acute.
I think it was acute pain. In fact, to be on the safe side, we normally say like you have to have it for over 4 to 6 months.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah.
Because of course, it takes time for certain injuries to.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about all the stuff that I've had now too.
And all the people who have it.
Yeah, it's making me think, and then I need to relax about it. But I had terrible hip pain because I was squatting too much in the gym, and I was running with terrible shoes at the time.
Okay.
And I had it for a few months. I went to physios. I went to above a physio. I went to, what's the name of them again? They're like different level. A sports massage therapist.
Okay.
Went to one of them for months. Nothing really came out of it, and I don't really know how I cured it. But doing yoga and certain things definitely helped. But a part of me is thinking, I don't run anymore and I don't play football. These things just because in the back of my head I'm like, I don't want that feeling again. But I know I could retrain myself to think, no, go for it. I should try and do it, run.
And I noticed that you said that you had head pain because you were squatting too much. But what if you had it because you thought you were squatting too much?
No, something definitely happened because, well, it was stupid. I squatted very heavy one day. And then within the same day or two, let's say, I went running with no runners, essentially. And after that, getting out of bed was terrible. I'd have to sleep on a specific side, but I could never really pinpoint exactly. And the sports massage therapist was saying, where is it? Because he was putting in triggers like acupuncture and all these different, where is it? And I had to really write down almost every day and journal, like you were mentioning earlier, to where it was. Eventually, honestly, I used like a tennis ball and things, and I just massaged it myself, yoga and things. It hasn't flared up, but every blue moon, a little bit of a crunch might come back. But I don't run. I don't play football, any of that stuff anymore. I should reconsider these things.
Let's do the half marathon.
Yeah, there we go. It's
dosed at doing the half marathon.
Done deal.
We'll podcast as we run.
Yeah.
I'll be like, you speak.
But then if you're going back to running with this thought that you might get it, you're already setting yourself up.
Yeah, like
that's what you have to change.
I can do it on a treadmill. I can do it on cross trainers as well. I put on specific settings where I wouldn't hit my hip. But yeah, just on the ground, I'd be like, nah, it's too impactful.
But maybe that,
maybe you change the belief that it's too impactful.
Exactly.
I mean, we don't go for a 10k run immediately. We just go for a 3k or whatever.
Yeah. I would go for it. It's just it'd be interesting to see if it would flare up again, and if I train myself in the right way, condition my mind, right?
Because it sounds like you're already convincing yourself it will come back.
It's one of them things. Now that I'm speaking about it, it sounds like that, doesn't it? Yeah.
So then you're going to be like, oh shit, it's coming.
I'm going to keep a close eye on these things.
You have to go for these things with the expectation that you won't get it.
Yeah.
That your body can take it. Because our bodies were programmed to do so much more. I mean, in the past, we were working, like our ancestors were working in the fields,
or hunter-gatherers,
carrying stuff, hunting.
Yeah.
I mean, and now most of us work at an office and we get this terrible chronic pain. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Or we get pain just because we go out for a run. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
We're programmed. We were made to run.
Yeah, made to run. We weren't made to sit down in desks and look at screens.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
Made to squat as well. Maybe not.
That's true as well. It was a bit silly by me. It's a bit silly.
Amazing, brilliant. Well, I think we'll wrap it up there. It's been really amazing. So, what's your website so people can? How can people get hold of you?
Sure. Through my website, ideally. So it's www.painoutsidethebox.com.
Yep.
That's one word.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a contact form there.
Yep.
And I've also got a Facebook group.
Yep.
It's very small at the moment. But
that's fine.
Hopefully
we can send some traffic your way.
Thank you, yes. Please.
And then obviously you'll be available, your services will be available through a wonderful new mobile booking platform called Few.
I've never heard of it.
Plug. But yeah, honestly, thanks again. This has been really... I knew this would be insightful, but this has been more insightful because now it's now just literally. I feel like my brain has just been opened and I've gone, oh fuck. Sorry, I'm swearing, but this person is like. And now I'll always, if I see someone that is having some pain, I'll ask these kind of questions and be like, have you thought about trying this, or even just kind of pass them on to you.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's really interesting.
For sure.
Yeah, I hope I haven't overloaded you because it's so extensive.
Yeah, you can go anywhere with it.
Yeah. And I think it'd be good to maybe kind of follow up in a couple of series time just to kind of see how your business is flourishing and maybe kind of really hone in on one particular point.
Yeah.
But this has been honestly super insightful and good luck with everything and
thank you.
Obviously I look forward to kind of sharing what I've learned on this already.
Well, thank you.
Good stuff.
So, we need to go into schools.
Yeah,
we need to go and like make people aware of this.
Yeah, no, and I can see a little bit of it within myself. I'm a little bit guilty here as well, because when I started talking about my hip,
your body language changed as well. You were closing in like
afterwards. You said it to me afterwards, and something, yeah, for sure, I'll give it a shot. I'm gonna read some books and probably put it more often. And
what's that, half marathon?
And yeah, we'll do the half marathon. Yeah, no, I'll do that for sure.
Okay.
I'll just really see if this could really fix it too.
And I just I think this is going to be such a. I think it's a really common thing. Really do think so.
Yeah, it's like you mentioned with the person you work with.
It's like even my mum, like she has rheumatoid arthritis, and she said, but she was taking these steroid shots for them, and that cannot be good. So it's like if you can create this awareness. Yeah, exactly. So it's something really I want to kind of delve into a bit more. And Miriam gave us another book recommendation as well, didn't she? It was The Great Pain Deception.
Yes.
Who's it by?
Stephen something.
Stephen Ryozanic.
The Great Pain Deception. Faulty medical advice. Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay. So maybe you can. You're going to read that, are you?
I have it already bought, all on Kindle.
Nice. Okay, cool. So you can let us know how it goes. I'll read another book. Awesome. Okay. Well, thanks again, listeners. It's been another awesome show. Really, really insightful. Like so insightful. So yeah, please do. If you've got any feedback, please do share them in the comments. Get in touch. If you want to also kind of be involved in the show to some degree, jamie@few-app.com. And yeah, kind of keep listening, and please do give us feedback, and subscribe to our channel.
Cool. Ciao.
Ciao.